In celebrating the third quarter of 2023 App Bonanza of the BAU podcast, which coincides with episode 139, I'll be demonstrating an e-reader that reads a bunch of different formats. I'm talking about ReadEra. That's R-E-A-D, capital E-R-A, so it's either ReadEra or ReadEra. I am on the Play Store now and will navigate to ReadEra, which I already have.
ReadEra, Book Reader PDF EPUB.
I'll tap here.
Navigate up, button. ReadEra Premium, eBook Reader. ReadEra, Book Reader PDF EPUB.
I would like to mention from the get-go that there are two versions. There's the free version, and that's the one I'm demonstrating. I have purchased the premium one. However, I'm going to be demonstrating this app using the free version. The good news here is that this app does not present any ads whatsoever, whether it's free or not. The only perks that you get as a premium user is the fact that you can read or listen to your books or documents with the screen turned off. With the free version, this, however, is not possible. I am on that page now and will tap on the Install.
Install, button. Pending. Verified by Play Protect. ReadEra, Book Reader PDF EPUB. ReadEra, Book Reader PDF EPUB. 46%, 48%, 50%, 100%. Installing. Open.
The app has been installed and I'll now tap on Open.
ReadEra. Menu. Button.
Upon launching the app, the first thing we heard was Menu, which is found near the top left corner of the phone. I would, however, want to mention a few things here, that there are buttons in the app that are not labeled. TalkBack, however, is doing the heavy lifting, and therefore we find the buttons that make sense. Before we get started, let's see what it says.
Ideal for fascinating reading of books, magazines, textbooks, and documents.
In other words, you could read your documents or your ebooks and documents, including the likes of .docx, text files, etc., etc. And then below there, we have
Continue, button.
Continue button. We tap here to get started.
Find all books and documents available on the device. Cancel, button.
Upon tapping on the Continue button, the page we landed on is a page that asks as to whether or not we would like to allow it to scan our device for books and documents. Now, you can choose to tap the Find It, or you could choose the Cancel. There's a Cancel in the middle to the left and the Find to the right of it.
Find, button.
Now, you could decide to cancel, and then you could manually search and choose which folders it should search for. So I'm going to tap on Cancel.
Cancel.
For
button.
example, because if I tap on Find, it's going to look everywhere that has any text or things relating to text, and you may wind up seeing a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to tap on Cancel.
Scan disabled. Settings, button. Books and documents.
And
Menu,
we are
button.
told that Scan disabled and all of that. Now, so here we are. So we are at the top again where it says Menu, and then moving to the right.
Books and documents.
There's a title there that says Books and Documents. So by default, we're placed in the Books and Documents.
Search books and documents.
To the right of that is the search, and near the top right corner,
More options, button.
we have the More Options. Since we're sitting here on the More Options, let's tap here and see what the More Options contains.
Pop-up window. Open single file, in list.
Tapping on More Options, the first item we come across is Open a Single File. Below that,
Sort by.
we have Sort By, and if we go in here, for example,
Pop-up window. Sort by. Heading, in list.
we hear Sort By heading, and we got the following.
Name. Radio button. not selected.
You could search by name, by file type, and all of that.
File name, radio button, not selected.
File name,
File format, radio button, not selected.
the format,
File size, radio button, not selected. Modified time, radio button, selected. Read time, radio button, not selected.
and that's the last item. I'm going to go back and look at the next items.
Books and documents. More options, button, out of list.
Doing the back gesture, take me back to the main UI, and I'll have to tap on that more options again.
Pop-up window, open single file, in list.
And we were at
Sort by,
and the next item below that
filter.
is the filter. So you can go in here and choose to filter the type of documents or formats you don't want it to read. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Filter. PDF, switch, off, out of list.
So you could tell it to not search for PDF files.
EPUB, switch, off. Word, switch, off. Doc, switch, off. DOCX, switch, off. Mobi, switch, off. TXT, switch, off. DJVU, switch, off. CHM, switch, off. RTF, switch, off. ODT, switch, off. FB2, switch, off. AZW, switch, off. Comic, switch, off. CBR, switch, off. CBZ, switch, off. No author, switch. No series, switch. No collection, switch. Unread, switch. 0. Cancel, button.
And the last item here is cancel. I'm going to tap on cancel. So in other words, you can choose the things you wanted to filter out among the list of items that I just showed you above there.
Books and documents. More options, button.
Let's tap on more options again.
Pop-up window. Open single file, in list.
And below the filter, we have
Retrieve all covers.
retrieve all covers.
Go to premium.
Go to premium. Go to premium. That's the last item here in the more options. And again, what the premium does is give you the ability to read with the screen off. And that's one of the perks for getting the premium. It's $11, $10.99 for the premium. And let's go back.
Books and documents. More options, button, out of list.
Now let's go back to the top left and tap on that menu.
Menu, button. ReadEra.
Tapping on menu, we heard ReadEra.
Reading now.
There's reading now. That's the books you're currently reading.
Books and documents.
Here, books and documents. I tap here. It'll take us to where we were, where it'll be showing a list of documents and books that you're reading. Next.
Favorites.
Here is where you'll find your favorites. That is, items that you've added to the favorites.
To read.
You can tap here to see the books that you've marked for that to read. Next.
Have read.
Or this is where you'll find books that you've marked as having read, and so they'll be placed in the have read. Next.
Authors.
Authors, you can put books in authors.
Series.
Series.
Collections.
Collections.
Formats.
Formats.
Folders.
Folders. Here's where you can choose what folders to scan. We'll come back to that.
Downloads.
Downloads.
Trash.
Trash.
Settings.
Settings.
Send feedback.
Send feedback. And that's the last item. Let's go into the settings though, because there may be some important things here we need to take a look at. And I'll go ahead and tap on settings.
Settings. ReadEra. Back. Button.
Tapping on settings, we heard back, found near the top left. Putting my finger down and moving down below that.
File scan.
We hear file scan. That is, I could tap here to scan my device. Below that.
Backup and restore.
Backup and restore. And this is probably one of those things that may require a premium purchase. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and check.
ReadEra. Back. Button. Create a backup.
Oh, you can create a backup.
Backups do not include your files. Be sure to copy the book and document files you want to save.
Okay.
Import file.
There's the import file.
ZM. Button.
And then something to the right of that. But there says ZM button. I have no clue. Let's tap here and see what that does.
Recent. Show routes. Button.
Ah, that takes me to the internal root of my device.
The Nothing to Phone Brave review.
So there is showing some of my documents.
ReadEra.
Going
ZM.
back.
Button. Out of list.
All right, now I'm going to go back again. I hope it doesn't take us out of here.
ReadEra. Backup and restore. In list.
So we're back to backup and restore. Below that,
Read book when start. Continue reading the last book or document on the app startup. Switch off.
in other words, if you wanted to resume reading when you start the device, or rather start the app, that is, read the last book you are reading, you could turn this on. Next,
Reading. Heading.
we come to the reading heading, and below that reading heading, we've got
Flipping an indicator of pages.
next.
Text-to-speech TTS.
This is important, and this is one of the reasons why I actually purchased this, because it has some nice ARIA voices that I really like, and I think those voices are coming from Microsoft or wherever they're coming from, but they're known as the ARIA voices. And I'll tap here to show you what I'm talking about. So we tap here to choose the TTS voice that we would like, and there are several supported regions and languages in here. Tap here.
Text-to-speech TTS.
Tapping on that, now put my finger near the top and go down.
Voice. Not selected. Out of list.
We heard voice not selected. We'll come back to it, but let's look at what else is here in the text-to-speech area.
Speech rate. Normal.
You could tap here to change the speed you would like.
Timer. Turned off.
Timer, you could tap here and choose to not use a timer, or it will time you out after some time, and you could choose how long you want it to stay active for. I think the max is like an hour or something like that. And that's the last item. Let's go ahead though and tap on that voice selection.
Voice. Not selected.
Let's tap.
Voice.
I have tapped on the voice, and I'm going to show you some of the things that are in here.
Language. Dash. English. Select a text-to-speech voice for this language from the list of available ones.
So you tap in here by default. Mine is set to my system default, which is the English language. If the English, however, is not your language, you tap here and choose your language, and that will show you the languages or voices that are relevant to the chosen language. Now, staying with the English language, below that we have the following.
ARIA. Natural TTS. United Arab Emirates. In list.
And I'm going to scroll down.
ARIA. Radio button. Not selected.
I'm going to go down and choose
ARIA.
United States, for
Radio
example.
button. Not selected for ARIA. ARIA. Natural TTS. Hong Kong.
I'm going to scroll
ARIA.
down.
ARIA. Natural TTS. Street. Lucia.
Send
Radio
Lucia.
button. Not ARIA. Natural TTS. Netherlands.
I'm scrolling
ARIA.
down.
Radio button. Not selected for ARIA. ARIA. Natural TTS. United States.
Here's United States.
ARIA.
This is an example of speech synthesis in English.
Now, if you scroll past these ones and going down below, you can even choose your local TTS engines. For example,
ARIA.
I scroll down.
ARIA. Natural TTS. Zimbabwe.
Let's scroll down below that.
NSXIOB local. Google. United States.
So you could choose the local Google Voices,
NSXTPC network. Google Online. United
the
States.
online ones.
Google.
Scroll down.
NSXTPF network. Google Online. United States. NUSSMTMOO. Samsung. Mail.
So those are some of my
Radio
local
English
voices,
United States ETI Eloquence TTS.
eloquence in there.
N-
So as you can see, that's how
NSXIOG
you go
Network.
about
Google Online United States.
selecting your TTS engine. I'm going to go back.
Text-to-speech TTS. Voice, ARIA, out of list.
Now let's go back.
Settings. Back. Button.
We are back to the settings, and now below that TTS engine we got
Full screen mode. Hide status bar and navigation bar. Switch off.
below that.
Day-night by touch. Switching color modes by touching the upper left corner. Switch on.
Next,
Multi-document mode. Open books and documents in a new window. Switching between documents via the Active App System button. Switch off.
next,
Screen on. Keep the screen on for 10 minutes longer than your current system setting. Switch on.
so it's up to you, or you can use that timer that I showed you earlier.
Other. Heading.
We come to the other heading. Below the other heading we've got
Interface language.
interface language.
Parental control.
We got parental control.
Usage statistics. Help to improve the app by automatically sending anonymous statistics about its usage. Switch on. About ReadEra. Version 23.07.15 plus 1830.
And that's the last item. I'm going to go back.
Books and documents. Books and documents. Out of list. Scan disabled. Settings.
Now
Button.
I am back to the menu I, and we heard it says scan disabled because I didn't give it that automatic scanning. Now we could go one way or the other in how we add books with the automatic scanning disabled. We could tap on that menu and go tap on folders and choose the folder we wanted to scan, or we could tap at one of those unlabeled buttons, which is being labeled by TalkBack at the bottom right, and that simply says the plus or something.
A0B. Button. Detected. Icon. Add. Text. Plus.
There we go, detected icon add plus, and I'm sure this is probable that one could activate the labeling feature. Let me see if it allows
TalkBack
labeling.
menu. Add label. In list.
There it is. If you want to add some meaningful thing, like maybe add book or add document or whatever, you could tap here and just add that label. And this is not the focus of this, so I'm going to tap on cancel.
Cancel. Button. Books and documents. Detected. Icon. Add. Text. Plus. Button.
All right, so I'm going to tap here.
Back. Back. Button.
Tapping there, we got the following.
Specify the desired search area for books and documents on your device.
And moving down.
Everywhere on the device.
So we got everywhere on the device.
Check box. Not checked for everywhere on the device.
And below that is a checkbox to the right, and it's not checked. If I check this, then it will scan every part of my device. Next,
In downloads.
in downloads, and below to the right,
Check box. Not checked for in
the
downloads.
checkbox is not checked. Next,
In the selected folders.
and then in the selected folder, and that's the one I'm going to choose, and down and to the right of it,
Check box. Not checked for in the selected folders.
checkbox is not checked. I'm going to check it.
Checked.
Now that I have checked that, meaning I'm going to select a folder that I would like it to scan or look in, then I'll move down.
Add folder. Button.
There's an add folder there to the left in the middle,
Open single file. Button.
or to the right of it is an open single file.
Add folder. Button.
I'm going to tap on the add folder and show you how you go about adding folder, and then we could tap on add a single file as well.
Files. Warren's S21. New
So
folder.
there we are, and
Can't use this folder. To files on Warren's S21. Out of grid.
I'm going to go to my books.
Alarms. Wrote audiobooks. Books. Column 2.
Here's my books folder. I tap.
Books. New folder. Out of grid.
Tapping on books now near the bottom, I got
Use this folder. Button.
use this folder. Tap.
Allow ReadEra to access files in books. This will let ReadEra access current and future content stored in books.
And I'm going to tap on Allow
Cancel button.
and Allow to the right of it.
Allow button. Back. Add folder button.
There we go. So I've added that folder.
Remove storage emulated 0 books button.
I could tap to remove it.
Done button.
And I could tap on Done at the bottom.
Scanning books and documents.
And now it's
Detected.
scanning.
Metadata retrieving 92%. Hide button. Metadata retrieving 93%. Hide button. Add to read.
As you can see, I got a lot of books in this folder. Now, to the left and going down along the left side are the list of your books. For example,
Read the Irma Bombeck collection. Read the Ghost Mountain Boys, row 4.
I'm just moving my finger down.
Read the Global War on Christians. Dispatches from the
I'm going to scroll down.
Read Sweet Southern Hearts, a Willow Hill novel, row 7.
Now, what I do want to mention here in passing is that to the right of each of these books, you'll find the following buttons.
Add to favorites.
There's Add to Favorite to the right of that.
Add to read.
Add to the To Read, that is to read later.
Add to have read.
Add to have read, that's the books that I have read. Next,
Collections 0.
there you could add it to the collections. And the last item on the right of that,
More options button.
we have the More options, and that's relating to the book in question. If I tap here,
Pop-up window. Share file in list.
there's a share file.
Move to trash.
I could move that book to the trash.
Edit.
I could edit that book. In other words, I could tap here to edit the name of the author and series and things like that. And that's all we have here in the More options. Now go back.
Books and documents. More options button. Row 7 in grid. 103 rows, 1 column.
Now, because Google may flag us down for copyright if I decide to read one of these, but I'm going to show you at least one of these things by importing a single file, and I'm going to import something that I had written. Now I'm going to tap on the menu found on the top left.
Menu button. Out of grid. ReadEra.
Here we are in the menu, and I'm going to tap on Books and Documents.
Books and documents.
Tapping on Books and Documents, of course, it's going to show the books that I have scanned into my library
The
here.
Global War on Christians.
But I'm going to go
Dispatches from the
down
front lines
at
and
the bottom.
the detected. Icon. Add. Text. Plus. Button. Out of grid.
And tap on that Add button.
Back. Back. Button. Specify the desired search area for books and documents on your device.
And so we are back to where we added the books folder. This time I'm going to tap on Add Folder and choose the Documents folder.
Storage emulated. Add folder.
We tap on Add Folder, which takes us to the internal storage again.
Books.
So by default, we are in the Books folder. And so what we need to tap on is your internal storage. And it depends on what your setup is. Mine will say my name and says the name of the device.
Warren's S21.
And that's there on the left. I tap.
Warren's S21. New folder. Out of list.
And now I'm going to go tap on Documents.
Documents. Row 4. Column 2.
Here is Documents. I tap.
Documents. New folder. Out of grid.
And in here, I have the items that I have in my documents.
Nothing to phone review. Doc 20.51 kilobytes. 3:20 p.m. Row 3. Column 1. In grid.
There's that
3 rows, 2
nothing
columns.
phone review there. And I need to tap at
Use
the
this folder. Button.
Use this folder.
Allow ReadEra to access files in documents. This will let ReadEra access current and future content stored in documents.
And I'm going to tell it to allow.
Cancel. Button. Allow. Button. Back. Add folder. Button.
And now tap on Done at the bottom.
Done button. Books and documents. Menu button. Scanning files. Settings button. Scan completed.
All right, and that Nothing to Phone should be in here.
Nothing to Phone review. DOCX 21 kilobytes, row 3.
And I go ahead and tap on it.
ReadEra. Back button. Out of grid.
Tapping on that pops up items near the bottom. We could add it to
Add to favorites.
favorites and all of that. Those buttons that are there to the bottom right of it.
DOCX 21 kilobytes. Files 1. File format and size.
And it tells you how big the file is. Now on the top, however, we got
Back button.
back to the right of
About
it,
document.
about the document.
Read button.
And then there's a read to the right of it, and to the top right,
Read aloud. Detected.
there's a
Icon.
read
Play.
aloud
Text.
as well. And if I just tap on
Read button.
read,
ReadEra. Nothing to Phone review. Section. Setup screen and language selection. Page 1/3.
all right, so it's reading the heading of that document. Now, I do want to mention here in passing that one of the shortcomings of this is that it doesn't seem to expose the text to the screen reader. Therefore, one is forced to use the TTS readout. Now that I've tapped on Read the Document, we have some items found near the top. Starting from the top left, we've got
Exit reading button.
this Exit the Reading to the right of that.
Read aloud.
There's Read Aloud to the right of it.
Text search.
Search,
Contents, bookmarks, quotes.
Contents, and Bookmarks. So if it's a book, you tap here, you could choose the chapter you want to jump to and things like that.
Reading settings.
And here, Reading Settings, when you tap on that, it's going to take you to where you could change things like the fonts, and you'll also get to where it says General, and tapping on that will also take you to the TTS settings where we've been. Now, if I tap on the Read Aloud, for example,
Read aloud.
and tap,
Allow ReadEra to send you notifications.
This brief review would be focusing on the Nothing to Phone, since the original Nothing Phone wasn't made available in the States. In this brief review, I'll be looking at the following: Setup screen and language selection, SIM card support, your information, biometrics and optional stuff, restoring your apps, software, looking at the system settings, screen reader action support, the glyph interface, and
I double tapped to stop the reading. Now, below that, we first heard it talking about whether or not we want to allow it to show notifications. It's up to you. So
Allow
we got
button.
allow or
Don't allow button.
do not allow. It's up to you. I typically don't allow apps to send me notifications. I tap on do not allow.
ReadEra. TTS settings. Detected. Icon.
Now,
Settings.
at the
Text.
bottom left,
VRAM. 3
we've
feet.
got
Detected. Icon. Close. Stop.
at the bottom left, we got close. And of course, TalkBack is doing the heavy lifting, and you can bring up the actions to go add like the label to it. Let's check to be sure that this one also supports the labeling.
Talkback menu. Add label. In list.
Great, it supports labeling. I'll tap on cancel at the bottom. So that one is to stop the TTS, and that will close it, for example.
Cancel. Button. ReadEra. Detected. Icon. Close. Stop.
To the right of that, we've got
Detected. Icon. Settings. Text. VRAM. 3 feet. TTS settings.
that will be the TTS settings. If you tap here, it'll go take you back to the TTS settings where we were earlier. Moving to the right,
1 of 16.
that's the page where you are located at.
Previous. Icon. play, left, text, enter.
We
L,
got the
previous,
back button, that's the previous, and then to the right of that,
detected. Icon, play, right, next.
that's the next. And above those two buttons, and it's sitting like almost in the middle between those last two buttons, is the play
Detected.
button.
Icon, play, button, read aloud.
And if I tap here, it'll resume reading. Here's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, for some reason, even though it allows you to stop the reading by double tapping with two fingers, for some reason, when I try to double tap with two fingers to resume, it's not doing that. Let's try it again.
Detected.
Screen reader action support. The camera. Audio and microphone. OS
Now I'm
updates
going
and
to tap
security
with two
patches.
fingers. That's double tapping to
Conclusion,
stop.
my thoughts. Setup screen.
It stopped. Now I'm going to try to double tap with two fingers again.
As described in the unboxing video, that
It's
Nothing to
working
Phone
now.
is a
All right. But if I close this, there's a problem that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to tap on that close at the bottom left.
Detected. Icon, close, stop. Touch the center to display the menu.
Now that I closed it, we heard the message saying that in order to show the menus, that is the items that I showed you earlier at the top of the screen where we picked on the read aloud, you have to tap in the middle of the center and activate those menus. Unfortunately, for those of us who are screen readers, this is not possible for some reason, and it's one of those things that I'm going to be writing the developer about. You can, however, if you have a newer device, you could activate or invoke the pass-through gesture. For me, however, I have the four-finger double tap and hold to activate the pass-through gesture. So I will tap twice with four fingers, holding my four fingers down on the second tap, and then let go and tap with one finger in the middle, and that should pop up the menus near the top. Here's what I'm talking about. Then tap. Now that I tap, I got those things up at the top.
Not read aloud.
There's read aloud there. So if I tap,
Detected.
setup screen and language selection. As described in the unboxing video, that Nothing to Phone is a 6.
I double tapped with two fingers to pause the reading. Now, for example, if I double tap again, I'm hoping it should resume it as it did earlier. And I think that is possible because the controls are still open at the bottom where we saw things like TTS settings, read next, and the play button. So let me double tap and see if it still works.
128 gigs of internal storage with 8 gigabytes RAM,
Now I'm going to shut off
256
the
gigs of
screen.
internal storage with 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes. As described in the unboxing video, that Nothing to Phone is a 6.7-inch phone with the following storage and RAM configurations. Of internal storage.
Now, it will stop after a while if I left the screen shut off because this is not the premium version. If I had the premium version, however, it will continue to read so long as I've tapped on the turn the timer off. That has been a quick review of the ReadEra, ReadEra app. I hope you find it useful.